What's up guys, welcome to Tactical Edge. My name is Matt, and in this video today we're going to cover how the HPA system is pretty much set up for our microgun. So there is two sort of ways to do it, and the first way is pretty much the big popular way that everyone wants to go, and it's the more versatile way. It's setting it up with a tank. Now it's quite a bit that goes into it though when you get a tank. One, it's the more expensive option, but two, you can run around with this little tank in your backpack. And you don't have mobility restrictions. But first of all, to run on a tank, you've got to get yourself a tank. So we do sell them here at Tactical Edge. This tank here, it's max PSI at 3000 PSI. So they're pretty much paintball tanks. So nothing different with that. But what the main difference is that this blaster can only handle 120 maximum PSI before the seals will blow out. So it's pretty much built like that for a reason, so you can't overpower it and go crazy. So at 120 PSI, it will probably blow the seals. But when it comes to your tank, when you get a tank, generally you get a tank regulator as well. So let's say this tank is at 3000 PSI at max. Not generally the best idea to fill it to max, but say it is. This regulator here will regulate it down to around about 900 PSI. So it goes from 3000 to 900, and then you've got to get another special regulator which will pretty much pull it down to that super low pressure of around 100. So this will regulate it from 100 down to a variable rate of 50 to 220. So that's what this particular regulator can do. And it is adjustable, so you can crank it up a bit higher or lower. So you don't have to have it at 100 PSI, you can crank it down to 50 if you really want to. Obviously it's going to shoot quite poorly, but that way you can regulate the pressure that you got in there. But you're going to need a tank, you're going to need the tank regulator, then you're going to need this other regulator to regulate it pretty much all the way down from 3000 PSI down to roughly 100, which is quite a bit of work to do. So these regulators aren't like the cheapest out there. But then you need a hose as well. Now this hose is obviously only dealing with the output pressure of the last regulator, which is, say you have it at 100, it only has to handle the output pressure. It doesn't have to handle 3000 PSI because it's not doing that. That's what the regulators are doing, and then you handle the output pressure from here. So as simple as just whacking the connectors in, and then this hose that's on the actual minigun itself, because you've got the two systems where you can have a bottle, which we don't actually have availability of yet, but you have this hose that runs out the back. This hose here in particular that comes with the Polestar regulator will have a fitting on it that is basically a quick release fitting that you just join the hose together, and you can't pull it. You can't pull it off. But if you pull the little quick release button here, you will be able to pull the hose out. So that's the beauty of this, because you've got mobility. Now, one of these tanks will generally last probably a whole, pretty much, tube of gels. A whole one of that to maybe two. Depends on how much pressure you've got the regulator set to, and how trigger happy you are, I suppose. The second option though is using a big line like this, and now that is pretty much to run straight off your air compressor at home, say in your garage. That generally, almost out of every single compressor that I've ever used, they are always regulated to about 100, 110 PSI. Now that obviously is within operating range of the blaster, and 110 PSI, it's not high pressure air. Now high pressure air is generally up in the thousands of PSI, whereas this doesn't need that much. The compressor, your air compressor home, can't put out that much. So you only need a hose like this. So this hose in particular we had put together by Pertec. Now you can go to any hose fitting place like that, like NZ even, and get a hose made. Very simple. Get it sort of as long as you want. If you're just having games at home, you've got a field at home, and you've just got a special area just using for the minigun, then awesome. But all you really need is just a Nido fitting into your compressor, and then just that other fitting to fit the hose on our blaster here. So it's very simple. These are the, you know, some of the two easiest methods you can get currently. Obviously the tank system being obviously a lot more mobility, but the expensive way. But you know, if you just want to get it using at home, plonking tins if you want, then the air compressor method is definitely the way to go. All right, so you might be wondering, Matt, where do I get my tank filled? Now that's a tricky question because at the moment we don't have the service available, but we are working on it. So keep sort of posted to what we're doing. Might be available soon to be able to get your tank filled up. Otherwise, like best I can suggest is maybe a scuba place. Haven't tried it, not sure. I know paintball places I don't think are too keen on it. So might have to do a little bit of research. I'm doing my research as well. As soon as I know, I'll let you guys know. But I'm working on setting up our own service just for you guys. So keep posted and I'll let you guys know. I hope that answers a few of your guys' questions. If you have any more, feel free to comment. If you haven't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys.